Well, we are joined now by Israel Defense Forces spokesman, Lieutenant Colonel Peter Lerner. Peter, thank you so much for joining us. You can see that the sort of rhetoric is shifting somewhat in the West. You've got Biden, who for a long time has been moving around, sending Antony Blinken over to demand meetings with the IDF and say, this is what we think you should be doing. And Rishi Sunak and David Cameron's language beginning to change again now. What is Israel's response to some of these calls in the West now to sort of rein in some of your military intervention?
Good evening, Alex. I think what is more important is that we are all in agreement that Hamas have to go. The reality is one that Hamas, as illustrated in the early hours of this morning, continues to hold Israeli hostages. We released the two, but there are still 134 hostages being held. The families of those hostages have been torn to pieces over the last 4 months, and it is our obligation to bring them home safe and sound, either through military operation, a rescue mission like this morning, or through diplomacy. Those are the two options, because we all know that there is no chance in hell that Hamas are just going to, by the goodness of their heart, let the people go. So we need to create the conditions that will bring them home. Hamas have to go. The paradigm has to change. Everybody understands that's the reality. Our operations are pushing that forward. And I would say that there's a huge amount of pressure inside Hamas, among their ranks, because of the concern that they see that their empire that they have built, their empire of terror that they have built over the last 16 years, is being destroyed step by step, stage by stage, tunnel by tunnel.
Peter, did I miss something, or did the Prime Minister, in an interview that I think he gave earlier today, may have been towards the end of yesterday, he talked about calling for a ceasefire? I didn't think that was British policy. I thought we were supporting Israel in their continued efforts to wipe Hamas out. What is the Prime Minister doing now, talking about ceasefire? This is a ratcheting up of our peace drive here, isn't it?
So the ceasefire can happen immediately. Hamas can let all of the hostages go, can unconditionally surrender, and there can be a ceasefire. Our operations are focused at dismantling and destroying Hamas as a governing authority of the Gaza Strip. They, quite honestly, can't be trusted with power of government. They prove that all they do with the power of government is leech off of the United Nations. They utilize the powers that they have to build a terrorist army, and they instruct the terrorist army to come into Israel to abduct, kill, massacre, murder, butcher babies, men, women, children, and all of those that are still being held today hostage. So the reality needs to change. We are, I would say, as an understatement, determined to make that change.
Peter, can I just, we haven't got long to go, can I just perhaps end on a positive note? Congratulations on releasing 2 of the hostages, or getting them to be released. This is the first time you've achieved it sort of unilaterally, if you know what I mean, without help from Hamas releasing people. Does this herald a new phase where more and more hostages will be released by Israel?
Actually, Chris, it's the second time we've been successful in releasing hostages by boots on the ground. As the intelligence is coming in, as the operational control throughout the Gaza Strip, specifically in the northern Gaza, where they held their databases, as the field intelligence is coming in, they are creating more and more opportunities. As I said, there are 2 ways to get the hostages home, either through our boots on the ground and force, or through diplomacy. Hamas can choose which way they prefer.
Peter, thank you ever so much. And look, regardless of whatever our Prime Minister says, there's 2 Brits here who are right behind Israel.
We stand with Israel.